Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hammer that thing. Yep. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the City Council for the regular agenda meeting for Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. We'll begin with calling the order, and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Pro Tem Gregory, and then stand for Rabbi Gordon for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I begin with words of King David in Psalms 123. To you I lifted up my eyes, you who dwell in heaven. Almighty God, master of the universe, the members of this esteemed body, the Paso City Council, convene here today to fulfill one of the 7 commandments which you issued to Noah and his family after the great flood, the commandment that all societies be governed by just laws. As is stated in the book of Genesis and its sacred commentaries, you issued at that time the following 7 laws: to worship you and you alone, never to blaspheme your holy name, not to commit murder, not to commit adultery, not to steal, lie, or cheat, not to be cruel to any living creature, and that every society be governed by just laws based on the recognition and acknowledgement of you, O God, as the sovereign ruler of all humankind and all nations. This council convenes here today to certify the election of and to administer the oath of office to our newly elected and re-elected council members and treasurer. We pray for Council Member-elect Beal, Council Member Gregory, Council Member Strong, and City Treasurer Ryan Cornell. May they, together with the other members of this council, succeed in fulfilling the sacred duty which you, O God, have commanded us. May God Almighty bless them with wisdom, strength, and compassion as they begin or continue the sacred work. May they always find the courage to stand for what is right, as King Solomon prayed. Give your servant an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. May they be blessed with success in this important mission, and may God's light shine upon them in all their efforts. We also pray for Council Member Roden. May God bless you for the dedication and hard work you have put into serving our community. May God bless you with the strength, health, and success in every new chapter, and may you always find meaning and purpose in your service to others. Grant, Almighty God, that the members of this council constantly realize that by enacting just laws and regulations, they are doing your will. Grant, Almighty God, that the members of this council be cognizant that their gathering here today fulfills a sacred purpose. As we approach the days of Hanukkah, the Jewish holiday that celebrates the miraculous victory of a small band of faithful but poorly armed Jews led by Judah the Maccabee in our homeland Israel over one of the mightiest occupying armies on earth, who tried to force the people of Israel to accept Greek culture and beliefs instead of mitzvah observance and belief in God. It also celebrates the rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem and how they lit the menorah miraculously. The one-day supply of oil lasted for 8 days until new oil could be prepared under conditions of ritual purity. Let us take a lesson from Hanukkah. A little bit of light dispels a lot of darkness, and a little bit of good dispels a lot of evil. Let us keep adding light and goodness, and with God's help, the darkness and evil will dissipate. Finally, I ask that you bless Mayor Hammond and all our council members with a peace of mind to fulfill these sacred duties. And let us pray in the words of King David in the book of Psalms. May there be peace within your walls, serenity within your mansions. May there be peace and serenity in this city of Paso Robles, and may there be peace in the Holy Land of Israel with the return of the 100 hostages, and may we come to a time when all evil will be eradicated. May it be your will, Almighty God, that the efforts of the council members be successful, empowering all the individuals in this great city to be decent human beings, considerate of others, reverent of you, and ready to do their part toward the ultimate goal of a perfect world in which your presence will be manifest. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Gordon. We'll have roll call then, please.
Councilmember Bausch.
Present.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Roden.
Here.
Councilmember Strong.
Present.
Mayor Hammond.
Here. Next, we'll do staff introductions, starting on my right. City
Melissa
Clerk.
Boyer, City Clerk, joined by Shauna Howenstein, Civic Engagement Coordinator, and Karen Jackson, IT Technician.
Warren Frace, Community Development Director.
Chris Hewott, Assistant City Manager.
Ditas Esperanza, Capital Projects Engineer.
Angelica Horton, Services Director.
Brian Cornell, Service Director, and City Treasurer. Dave North, Police Chief. as following: solid waste recycling.
Ty Lewis, City Manager.
And Elizabeth Hull, City Attorney.
Very good. Thank you. First item on tonight's agenda is the election results, declaration of and certification of the results of consolidated general election November 5th, 2024. And Melissa, do you have that for us?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor Hammond. Council members, pursuant to Section 3650 of the California Government Code, the City of Paso Robles holds its general municipal election on the same day as the statewide general election. Earlier this year, the City approved Resolutions 24066 and 24067, calling for a general municipal election to be held on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, and for that election to be conducted by the San Luis Obispo County Election Department for the purpose of electing one council member to District 1 for a partial term, one council member to each District 3 and District 4 of the City Council for full terms of 4 years each, and to elect a treasurer for the full term of 4 years. Ryan Cornell received 100% of the votes cast for treasurer and was elected for a 4-year term. A total of 3 candidates ran for partial term in District 1. Candidate Linda C. George received 16.88% of the votes cast. Incumbent candidate Sharon Roden received 39.3% of the votes cast. And candidate Chris Beal received 43.82% of the votes cast and was elected as District 1 council member for a partial term of 2 years. A total of 3 candidates ran for a full term in District 3. Candidate Jeff Carr received 20.96% of the votes cast. Candidate Michael Rivera received 35.55% of the votes cast, and incumbent candidate Steve Gregory received 43.49% of the votes cast and was elected as District 3 council member for a full term of 4 years. In District 4, one candidate, incumbent Fred Strong, sought re-election to the office of council member and received 100% of the votes cast and was elected as District 4 council member for a 4-year term. It is recommended that the City Council approve Resolution 24XXX reciting the facts and declaring the results of the November 5th, 2024 consolidated general election as made available by the County Elections Office.
Very good. Thank you, Elizabeth. Melissa, anything from the council for questions? We'll open it up then to the public for any general comments. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council for discussion. Chris?
I think we're ready for motion.
Okay.
If we're ready for the motion, I would like to make the motion to approve Resolution 24XXX, reciting the facts and declaring the results of the December 5th, 2024 consolidated general election for the city treasurer, the members of council in districts 1, 3, and 4, as made available by the County Elections Office.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Roden, second by Councilmember Bausch. Any discussion? I'll call for the question, Melissa.
Councilmember Roden?
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. So at this point in time, we then will take a short break.
We're going to do the oaths of office.
Oath of office. Okay, let's
So
do
if
that.
I could ask each of the newly elected council members and our city treasurer to come forward. We're going to do your oaths of office. You can just line up along the center here. Thank you. So I'm going to ask each of you to raise your right hands. And as we go about this oath, you have the opportunity to either swear or affirm. Where I state my name, you will state your name. Everybody ready? I, Melissa Boyer, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. I do further swear that in all matters concerning the city, I shall strive to promote the common good, to uphold the public trust without fear or favor of any person, and to leave the city greater and better than it was when entrusted to me. Congratulations. If I could ask each of you to turn around and go ahead and find your certificate, and please sign that oath of office.
Am I going to be able to read that? Yes. Yes.
Take these, and we'll get them back to you before the end.
Okay, these two? Or we take these now?
You can take that now.
Okay.
And with that, I will turn it back over to Mayor Hammond.
Okay, what we're going to do is take a short break. And then at this point, actually, let's take a break. We're going to honor Sharon here after we come back. During the presentation, she'll be number one. And then we have a little bit of food and a little bit of things to sit and talk a little bit about. So why don't we go ahead and take about a 10-minute break, possibly, and then we'll go ahead and put us back to order. So we stand adjourned. We'll reconvene the meeting here tonight, and next up on our agenda is the roll call of the new council. Melissa?
Councilmember Bausch,
Present.
Councilmember Beal,
Present.
Councilmember Gregory,
Here.
Councilmember Strong,
Present.
and Mayor Hammond.
Here. Next item is J1. We have recognition of Councilmember Sharon Roden, and if Sharon could come up, I'd like to talk to you for a minute. Well, it's not a roast.
He said it's not a roast.
No, not a roast. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah. So, again, you stepped up when we really needed someone. Back when we had to make an adjustment to the council, you came into this full-fledged and knowing probably not a whole lot, but then you got to that point real quick. I really want to appreciate all the service you gave to us as a council and friendship, but also to the public. I mean, it's important that people understand that this is not the easiest job in the world, and it takes a lot to really do it well, and Sharon did. She was one of those people that maybe didn't know something about a particular item, but she got in and learned about it real quick. So for that, it's amazing. I have a little thing that's probably for your wall. Not much, but it's important, I think. It's a recognition of Sharon Roden. City of Paso Robles presents Sharon Roden in recognition of distinguished community leadership and service to the City of Paso Robles, October 3rd, 2023 to December 17th, 2024. Congratulations and thank you for serving.
That's very kind, but you know when somebody hands me a microphone, it's always a little dangerous. So, to prevent that, you guys remember mullets? Business in the front, party in the back, city council on the top, public comment on the bottom. For those of you at home, I have a suit jacket on top and Levi's on the bottom. This past year has been one of the most challenging and fulfilling years of my life. I can't say I'm not disappointed. To do so would be disingenuous, but not to the degree you might expect. The reason is simple. I value relationships, character, and knowledge above all else. Throughout this last year, I was blessed to have been surrounded by those within our city government who are intelligent, informed, diverse in their views, hardworking, patient, and willing to impart that wisdom to me. I have gained so many new friends, as well as rekindled old friendships. These friendships would not exist without this experience. To my dear friends here in Paso Robles, new, rekindled, and old friends, my family, I say thank you. And also to those friends that reached out to me from Mississippi and New Orleans and Washington, Nevada, Idaho, Alaska, and the American pistachio growers. I want to thank all of these good people for their unwavering support and laughter at all the appropriate times. Most especially, I thank my wife, Dana, who is still more loyal and prettier than my best hunting dog. I could never have done any of this without her strength and love. I want to thank Chris Beal for running a thoughtful and respectful campaign. I look forward to working with her and lending whatever support she may ask. I have no doubt she will represent our city well.
privilege. Thank you, Sharon. Next, we have the proclamation for the American Post 50. Can I have Christopher Robert come on up? And any of your other members would like to come forward too? Christopher, why don't you hold that proclamation?
Susan, do you want to talk? Susan's actually the president of the American Legion Auxiliary, and she's shy. Yeah, this is her dad.
All right, come on up. Proclamation, American Post Legion 50, 100th anniversary. Whereas the Paso Robles City Council recognizes the sacrifices service members make on behalf of our country, whether it's serving in combat zones, enduring long deployments away from their families, or facing physical and mental challenges, and the importance of honoring all those who put their lives on the line to ensure that we can enjoy benefits of living free in a democracy. Whereas one of the most significant contributions to veterans make to our nation, their ongoing commitment to serve in their communities through volunteer work, advocacy, and other forms of public service, in a testament to their values that veterans hold dear, including duty, honor, selfless service. Whereas the American Legion chartered by Congress in 1919 as a patriotic veterans organization focusing on service to veterans, service members, and communities involved from a group of war-weary veterans in World War I into the most influential nonprofit groups in the United States. Whereas the Paso Robles American Legion Post 50 was chartered just 5 years later on December 22nd, 1924, to serve local veterans and their families, first operating from 406 Spring Street, then 940 Park Street, and since 2002 at 240 South Scott, where our city built the Veterans Memorial Building. Whereas Post 50's local force of veterans continues to support veterans active service members, their families, with resources including help with Veterans Affairs, hospitals and clinics, pension issues, healthcare needs, and continues to work to foster a true spirit of Americanism and to safeguard and transmit to posterity the principles of justice, freedom, and democracy. And whereas Sunday, December 22nd, 2024, will commemorate the American Legion Post 50's 100th anniversary of service to Paso Robles, God, and country. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, John Hammond, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, and speaking on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim December 22nd, 2024, as American Legion Post 50's 100th year anniversary. Thank you.
Good evening. So it's an honor to be here, and especially be here with some of the people I have the opportunity to share being with the American Legion. I have, like I said, the president of the American Legion Auxiliary, the president of the Sons of the American Legion, and then our veteran service officer. This could not be done alone. Obviously, I'm not 100 years old. I may look like it, but I'm not 100 years old. We've gone through a lot of transitions. We've lost a lot of people. Our membership has gone significantly down since the loss of World War II vets and Korean War vets. The big push with all veteran service organizations is to try and get some of those younger people to come in and see what we're all about. Because we're there to help. We're there to serve the veterans in our community. So as the mayor had mentioned, on the 22nd of December of this year, which is this Sunday, is our 100th anniversary. And we're going to have an open house at 240 Scott Street. So if you want to come on by, see what the American Legion is all about, you're all welcome. We're going to have some food, we're going to have some music, and we hope to meet a lot of you there. Thank you.
My name is Joseph Gable. I'm with the Sons of the American Legion. I'd just like you to know that we have some flyers for this, and I hope you come on out and help us celebrate on Sunday from 1 to 4. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Sal Cotta. If you would come on up, Sal. There you go. And we have also
Deb Johnson, State Commander, VFW.
Oh, welcome. We have a proclamation honoring the 125th anniversary of the Veterans of Foreign War, VFW. Whereas the Veterans of Foreign War of the United States was founded in 1899 to advocate the rights and welfare of military veterans, their families, and their communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 125th anniversary of the VFW, highlighting its enduring legacy of service, sacrifice, and commitment to ensuring that all veterans receive the recognition and benefits they deserve. And whereas the VFW has been an integral part of the city of Paso Robles, bringing veterans and civilians together through community events, educational outreach, and support of active duty personnel, their families, and transitioning veterans. And whereas the members of VFW Post 10965 have exemplified the VFW's core values of integrity, service, and camaraderie by organizing local initiatives, providing aid to veterans, and fostering a deep sense of community pride. And whereas the 125th anniversary is an opportunity to honor the legacy of all veterans, remembering their sacrifices, and recommit to supporting their future needs and well-being. So now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, John Hammond, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, and speaking on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim 2025 as the 125th anniversary of the Veterans of Foreign Wars in Paso Robles, and urge all citizens to join us in celebrating in the history, the achievements, and the ongoing contributions of the Veterans of Foreign War and its members in creating a safer and more prosperous future for our community and nation. Sal?
Thank you, Paso Robles. Again, my name's Sal Cotta. I'm a quartermaster for Post 10965 here in Paso Robles. I'm also the district commander for Veterans of Foreign Wars here in California. And on behalf of your post commander, Leo Castillo, I accept the proclamation for the VFW. And I'd like to have State Commander Deb Johnson say a few words.
Thank you, Sal. Again, my name is Deborah Johnson. I'm the state commander of the Department of California. We are 104 years old out of the 125 years. And on behalf of the 80,000 members of our VFW and the auxiliary for the department, we are honored to be here. But I'm also representing the 1.4 million members of the VFW and our auxiliary worldwide. We are the largest and oldest combat veteran organization in the world. We encompass VFW posts and states in all 50 states, and then we also have posts in the Department of the Pacific areas and Europe. So like I said, we are a nationwide organization. Our motto is no one does more for veterans. We, believe it or not, we have been around before the VA was even formed. So we were developed we started right after the Spanish-American War because a group of combat veterans decided we need to band together. But something that the American Legion said, Chris Rohrberg said, one of the things you may be wondering about is membership. As an organization, the VFW2 suffers from a loss of our World War II and Korean veterans. If you are a member that is eligible, if you have served in the U.S. military, our organizations need you. It keeps us in front of Congress. It helps us advocate. We got the largest toxic exposure bill called the PACT Act passed in the last couple years. Millions of veterans receive financial benefits for that. So if you're on the cusp, not sure whether you want to join a veterans organization, you have two amazing organizations, the American Legion and the VFW here in Paso. Please consider becoming a member, helping our organizations advocate not only for the veterans of today, but the veterans of our future. Thank you.
All right, very well done. Okay. Next, we have general public comments. And we will go ahead and open. This is the time, again, for the public to address the council on items within the council's purview, but not scheduled on the regular agenda. All persons speaking will have the 3-minute time limit. Need to fill out a speaker card to give to our clerk. Those wishing to speak on any item scheduled on tonight's agenda will be given the opportunity to do so when that agenda item is being heard. So with that, we'll go ahead and open up public comment. Dale, looks like you're there.
Name is Dale Augustin, Paso Robles, longtime resident since '79, and I've seen a lot of councils come and go. I'm real pleased with the ones we have now. Good luck to you, and thank you for all you've done for Main Street.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, Dave Nelson, Paso Robles. Congratulations and to everyone. And my topic is representative government. So I just want to remind everybody that your job here is to represent us, the 5 of you, representing all the people out here. It's your main job. Listening to what the people want. We can't all be here. We can't all vote, so we depend on you to do it. Sorry, I gotta get my glasses. So, sometimes there are comments that have come from here. I'll let you read some of these, but after paid parking was repealed, the mayor had some negative comments about the people that collected signatures. I thought that wasn't appropriate. We're the people, and you represent us. And making negative comments about the people and their signatures is not appropriate. I'll let you read them. You actually wrote a op-ed following up on your comments from that date, which was also insulting. It was insulting to me, and I'm pretty sure it was insulting to everybody who signed the petition, which was a lot of people. Recently, I came in and brought feedback about the employee lots. I commend Steve Gregory for embracing the idea of talking to the businesses and employees about what we should do with them. And in fact, the council instructed the staff to reach out to the businesses and employees. And it was going to take a couple months, according to Chris Hood. A month later, I came back in writing and offered to do that outreach, and it wasn't accepted. Subsequently, the city staff has come back and proposed something different. They never did the outreach. It's up to you, the council, to instruct the staff to listen to the people. You people have all lived here a long time. You know a lot of people. You could talk to people. I've talked to people. I have some more input for you on this item when it comes up later that I'll share with you. But I think we should remember to listen to the people, talk to them. You know a lot of people. Get out there, talk to them. Make sure that the city staff talks to the businesses, not just send out a notice. I know we've done that recently. We sent a notice to Main Street and so on. People don't have time to see these things. You give them time, give them notice, collect their feedback. Thanks.
Rabbi Gordon, welcome.
Good evening. Rabbi Meir Gordon with Chabad of Paso Robles. As you may have heard, it's a Jewish organization, and I just wanted to share with the council, the staff, and the community about our upcoming Hanukkah menorah lighting, third annual Hanukkah menorah lighting in the downtown city park on September 29th at 4:30. It's a great event. It can be live music, entertainment, kids activities, hot food, latkes, soup, and the now famous gel drop. So if anybody would like to join us, you're all invited. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Christopher.
Good evening again. I'd like to talk briefly about the Niblick Road project and its an impact on the Niblick Bridge, which a lot of people don't know is actually the Veterans Memorial Bridge. What I'd like to see happen as part of that project is it's marked a little better because there's a very small plaque that's kind of hidden unless you know where to look for it. I'd like to see on both sides of that bridge where we see that it's the Veterans Memorial Bridge. I've been putting flags up there for several years now, and the only thing they slow down for is make sure they don't hit us. So I think we need to kind of commemorate that fact that that is the Veterans Memorial Bridge. Thank you.
Thank you. Francisco, welcome.
Thank you. Francisco Ramirez here in Paso Robles. I, for one, want to say congratulations to Ms. Crispio. And thank you, Sharon, for all the work you put in and throughout these years, helping out this community and listening and being there to the community. Those of you that reached out and commented through me, that come to me, and I came to you as a city council. And also, since Maria Garcia is also here, recognize her bravery to be the first woman in over 30 years to be part of the Paso Robles city government, making history here in Paso Robles and allowing the doorway to have more women in our city council government. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the agenda at the dais. Next, we have agenda items to be deferred. Mr. Lewis, do we have anything?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Overview of the consent calendar. City Manager Ty Lewis, would you let us know what we're going to be looking at?
You bet, Mr. Mayor. We have 8 items tonight on the consent calendar. First item is approval of the December 3rd, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. The item 2 is approval of the December 9th City Council special meeting minutes. Item number 3 is receipt of the advisory body minutes for the Planning Commission for the dates of 7/9, 8/13, and 8/27/2024. Receipt of the warrant register. On that, there are 6 items of note over $100,000 in total. Just a little over $2 million was expended during this report. First item over $100,000 was the State Water Resources Control Board for a financing agreement in the amount of $440,615.06. Second item was Coastline Equipment for a compact track loader in the amount of $103,175.48. Third item is to Pacific Gas and Electric for utilities, water, out of the water fund, I should say, for $104,315.25. 2 items to our attorney firm, Best Pesk and Krieger. First was for September of financial year attorney's fees in the amount of $104,672.90. The next item was for October for $117,221.63. And last but not least is to Jesse Matt Company for the purchase of a green climber in the amount of $161,189.18. Item number 5 is receipt of the treasurer's report for October of 2024. Item number 6 is approval of a resolution awarding banking services to Pacific Premier Bank. Item number 7 is approval of side letters of agreement with Paso Robles Police Officers Association, Paso Robles Professional Firefighters, and the Service Employee International Union for wage and benefit summary amendments with the unrepresented confidential professional union as well. Item number 8 is approval of the First Amendment to the lease agreement with Congressman Jimmy Panetta for the Congressional District Office located at the train station at 800 Pine Street. And that concludes the items on the consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Next, we're going to then move to consent, and the items on the consent calendar are considered routine and do not normally require separate discussion. However, if any council member wishes to have more information or has a question, a particular item before we vote on it, we can do that now beforehand. I'll also offer that to the public. Any member of the city council, though, that wants to pull an item for full discussion, the item then will be moved to the end of the discussion calendar. And so now I will ask then council, is there any questions that we'd like to have clarified on this side? Over here. Open it up to the public. Anybody have any questions on any consent item on the calendar tonight? Anybody wishing to pull anything? Full discussion. Okay. Bring it back to council.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Strong.
move approval of the consent agenda.
Second by Gregory.
So we have a motion by Councilman Strong for consent items 1 through 8, seconded by Pro Tem Gregory. Any discussion? Let's go ahead and call the question.
Councilmember Strong.
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory.
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch.
Aye.
Councilmember Beal.
Aye.
Mayor Hammond.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have the public hearings. I'll open the public hearing at this point. And this is the number 1 is going to be time and place fixed for public hearing of annexation number 1 to the City Paso Robles Community Facilities District 0222-2N, Olson South Chandler Ranch, including adoption of a resolution calling for special election for said community facilities. And Ryan Cornell, you'll have that item for us.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. On November 5th, 2024, City Council approved Resolution 24-120, which declared that its intention to annex certain property into CFD number 2002-2N and approve of the map of the proposed annex area. Tonight, since it's been more than 30 days, we are actually going to need to conduct the election. So there's 4 separate actions for City Council to take. The first one is to approve a draft resolution calling the special election. The second action is to conduct the election. The third action is to approve resolution declaring the election results. And the last action is to introduce for first reading an ordinance authorizing the levy of special taxes. We do have Jennifer Bradley from BB&K online, should you have any procedural questions. But I do believe, Mr. Mayor, you have a script that we provided you to go through the legal actions. With that, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions you might have.
Okay. We'll open up first to council questions of Ryan. Anyone? Okay. We'll open up then to the public first. Second, then, to go ahead and ask for any questions on the item. Okay. We'll close the, I believe we need to read this properly, I'm assuming. We're supposed to close the public hearing? I don't believe so. Yeah. Oh. Jennifer, do you hear us?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Jennifer. Moving through this, can you kind of lay it out a little bit? I see a particular script that we're supposed to use to do it technically correct. Can you?
Yep, that was.
Go ahead.
Yep, exactly. Yep, exactly. You're going to open up the public hearing and adopt the resolutions and ordinance, and that will, and the city clerk will also be conducting the election, and it will be considered closed.
Okay. And we're down to the point where there's no further public testimony. Will be accepted. Bring it back to council. Mayor asks council if there's any questions, which it did. Then the City Clerk, are there any written protests on this item to be received?
No, sir.
And I'm sorry, Ms. Boyer, can you confirm for us that the notice of public hearing was mailed and published in accordance
Yes,
with the law?
the notice was mailed and published in accordance with the law.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Bausch, go ahead.
just in an abundance of caution, I was going to do this under P3, but I think I'll do it here as well. I did have an ex parte meeting with Mr. Ryan Hagan, who I believe is one of the investors for Vendejo. We didn't really discuss this part of the project, but did have a meeting for coffee. And I'll bring that up again at P3.
Okay. So you made that statement, ex parte conversation with one of the principals. Okay. Require the city clerk to, whether there are any more persons registered to vote without or within our territory to be annexed.
No, the County of San Luis Obispo Register of Voters has certified that there are no registered voters within the territory of annexation number 1 to Community Facilities District number 2022-2N.
And then city clerk, if the owner of all the taxable property of annexation number 1 of the Community Facilities District number 2022-2N has consented to holding a special election on the December 17th, 2024.
Yes.
And city clerk concurs that the special election may be held on December 17th, 2024.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing then, and we'll call for a motion to approve the following resolutions, and I'll read it. The resolution of the City Council of the City of El Paso de Robles, acting in its capacity as the legislative body of the City of Paso Robles, Community Facilities District number 2022-2N, Olson South Chandler Ranch Services, County of San Luis Obispo, State of California, calling a special election and submitting to the qualified voters of the territory proposed to be annexed thereto the question of the annual levy of special taxes therein to pay the cost of certain services, annexation number 1. And that would be the resolution.
So,
motion by Bausch.
Second by Gregory.
Second by Gregory. Any discussion? Okay, City Clerk, we'll go ahead and call for the question.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
The next motion or resolution here is the following. Resolution of the City Council of the City of El Paso.
Excuse me,
So
Mayor Hammond.
before we get to that point, Madam Clerk, can you conduct the special election for us, please?
Oh.
Yes, the official ballot has been opened and all votes are in favor of the propositions presented on the ballot.
Excellent. So now we can move on to the next resolution.
Okay. We'll call for a motion to approve the following resolution. Resolution of the City Council of the City of El Paso Robles, acting in its capacity as legislative body of the City of Paso Robles, Community Facilities District number 2022-2N, Olson South Chandler Ranch Services, County of San Luis Obispo, State of California, declaring the results of the special election within the territory to be annexed thereto, and taking other actions related thereto, annexation number 1. That is the motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Bausch, second by Strong. Any discussion? I'll call for the question.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
And Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. The next motion to introduce by title only and waive further reading of the following ordinance. The motion on the ordinance is the City Council of the City of Paso Robles, California, acting as the legislative body of the City of Paso Robles Community Facilities District number 2022-2N, Olson South Chandler Ranch / Services, County of San Luis Obispo, State of California, authorizing the levy of special taxes in said community facilities districts, including certain annexation territory identified in annexation number 1. That is our motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bausch, second by Gregory. Any discussion? Okay, we'll call for the question.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
I believe that then takes care of the item.
It does. Mayor Hammond, my resolution for the new year is to make the titles even longer for you.
Thank you. 2-pager. Okay. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearings at this point again, and then we move on to discussion item number 1, and that is the approval of agreement with Department of Resources, Recycling and Recovery, CalRecycle, for financial assistance for post-closure, maintenance, and corrective action of the city landfill. Adam Spaulding, will you have that item for us?
Sorry. Yep. This is a relatively straightforward agreement, but we wanted to bring it to discussion in case there were additional questions. Basically, for a very long time, the city has been dedicating funding for the closure of the landfill. When we're saying closure there, it actually is 3 separate things. It's the closure of the landfill when you're putting a cap on it. It's also the post-closure maintenance and monitoring, which is 30 years after the closure of the landfill. And additionally, there is a third component, which is any corrective action if there is an event or something that requires funding to be repaired or replaced or upgraded. That's what that's for. So right now, what we're asking is for the city to formalize the signing of this pledge of revenue. And what it allows us to do is to take the approximately $5 million that we have dedicated to those 3 things and to dedicate it to the closure of the landfill, to not include the post-closure or the corrective action, which we will be dedicating funding towards in the future. What this does is it gives us more funding immediately for the partial final closure for phase 1 and phase 2 that we're working on now. And it allows us to utilize a larger percentage of that funding because now it's not split over 3 different items. It's only going to be covering the closure. And then by doing that, it allows us to do more work without having to come back to council to find additional funding in another way in the general fund to support closure activities that need to take place. So
Very good.
Happy to take questions.
Is that your report then, Adam?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions of Adam Spaulding?
Adam, can you remind us where this funding was sourced from?
The funding for the landfill closure?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all from tipping fees at the landfill.
Why don't you explain what tipping fees is? So
Sure, I can copy that. Yeah, sorry. I pretend like everyone lives in trash, but that's just me. So tipping fees are all revenue that's generated at the landfill when people are bringing trash. So be that residential customers, commercial customers, anyone when they go to the landfill and they cross the scales, they're paying for the materials they're bringing in. Various materials have various charges that they get, and all of that goes to the maintenance and operation of the landfill and additional funding besides operations. We had previously set aside, I think it was $180,000, and we've increased that to $250,000. If this is approved and we move the pledge of revenue in the future, that $250,000 should cover. We're anticipating it cover both still, because there will be a reduction overall in the amount that's needed for closure, and then any of that additional will go towards the post-closure and corrective action.
So not to put too fine a point on it, none of this money came from the general fund. None of this money could have been used for roads or anything
absolutely
like
not.
that.
The landfill, all the money for the landfill is the landfill.
It is an enterprise fund, correct?
It is an enterprise fund, and that's the other reason why we want to sign the pledge of revenue, because the pledge of revenue commits the city to doing something we're always already going to do, which is we're never going to let this asset out there become a liability.
Right.
We know we're going to take care of it. We're going to do closure. We're going to do the monitoring. We're going to do the reporting. We're doing all of those things. All it does is changes the financial structure of what we have right now so that we have access to more.
Thank you, Adam.
Immediately.
Okay. Good, Chris. Any other questions? Okay, we'll open up then to the public for public comments on the item. Seeing none, we'll bring it back then to council for discussion and or action.
Mayor Hammond.
Pro Tem Gregory.
Yep, I'd like to go ahead and recommend we approve Resolution 24XXX, authorizing the city manager to enter into, an agreement with the California Department of Resources, Recycling, and Recovery Agreement, CalRecycle, confirming the city's pledge of financial assurance for post-closure and corrective action activities.
Second. Oh, shoot.
Well, let's just do that. Mrs. Beal, let's get you in there. So,
Thank you. That's
Pro Tem Gregory,
absolutely.
we have Council Member Beal as a second. Any discussion on the item? All right, we'll call for the question.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Just an apologies to Councilmember Gregory and a note to Elizabeth that I think that my recommendation is longer. Sorry. So.
Okay. Thanks,
I'm not
Adam.
the worst offender tonight.
Item 2 on discussion, approval of a change order to design the contract for a new corporation yard. Rita Berman.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Frida Berman, Public Works Director. Tonight, you will hear an update on several city workspace-related projects, starting with the new city corporation yard, where we are asking you to consider a change order to Omni Design in the amount of $159,037. Currently, the corporation yard is located at 625 Riverside Avenue and is home to the landscape facilities and fleet maintenance staff. The property was sold in 2018, and the city has been leasing it back since that time. The new corporation yard will be located adjacent to Fire Station 3 and the future Union Road Safety Training Center. When council awarded the contract to Omni Design for the new corp yard, it was envisioned as one large building housing all maintenance division staff. After a significant programming effort, the current design includes 3 buildings, one building for landscape and facilities maintenance, a fleet maintenance shop, and a standalone utilities building. Here you see the existing Fire Station 3, the future safety training area. This is the new facilities and landscape shop, a state-of-the-art fleet maintenance facility, and the new standalone utilities department building. The increased scope has an associated increase in architectural design, structural engineering, mechanical engineering, and electrical engineering work. That is coupled with higher professional services costs in the 2.5 years the project has been in development, hence the request for a change order. But the issue of a new corporation yard, begs the question of workspace needs across the organization. Over the next 10 plus, workspace needs across the organization over the next 10 plus years, and staff is working on other projects addressing that issue. The first being the City Hall remodel project. We are out of room. We have used all the extra pieces and parts. I give big kudos to our facilities maintenance staff who has taken all old cubicle parts and created as many new cubicles as we can, but we're out. That coupled with a long list of deferred maintenance items, and in August, council awarded a design contract to 10 Over Studio to maximize the use of the existing second floor space, replace carpet, paint, create a new public access conference room and implement some of the high priority security recommendations from the facility security analysis. Here you see all the cubicles pushed to the, north side of the floor. They are standardized mostly in 6x6 cubicles with some 9x9 cubicles. And on the red line on the right-hand side is a bullpen for all our inspectors. This is a new public access conference area. If you've ever tried to book a conference room on the second floor, some days it's nearly impossible. We'd like to see more opportunity for public access meetings. These is the new counter area. The security assessment identified the fact that there is a significant blind spot when people come up the stairs or get off the elevator, and staff working at those front counters can be surprised about who is approaching them. These counters are moved forward and angled so that there is a better view, which will be enhanced with some convex mirrors, but of people coming up the stairs or getting off the elevator. Also, you'll notice there are two counters. One counter is the existing building and engineering staff counter, and the other counter is for utility billing staff, which we'll discuss in a couple minutes, the utility billing people moving from the annex. This is a customer service area where staff can meet people outside the counter area in the public space and address any questions, go over plans, that sort of thing. Secondly, let's talk about 4305 Second Wind Way. So again, to help with City Hall capacity issues, as well as to vacate the City Hall annex, 2 departments will be moving to a city-owned property on Second Wind Way, adjacent to the airport. Those people moving are the Administrative Services Department, headed by Ryan Cornell, along with his IT staff, Human Resources staff, and Finance staff. Public Works Administration will also be moving to Second Wind Way. Myself, David Licaro, Stormwater, Kim Porter and her staff, and CIP Engineering, as well as our new management analyst position. This is the layout of that building. You'll see IT along one side, Human Resources in a secure area. We have the finance people, Public Works, and around the edges are private offices. I invite any of you when we're out there, which hopefully will be in late January or early February, to come out and visit us. We will have a public counter, although we don't expect public interaction, some contractors, but we're using a lot of what's already there. So it's a very efficient way to increase our workspace. And finally, a benefit of these moves is that they allow the city to exit the City Hall Annex lease, which will save the taxpayers $120,000 a year. We have 90 days notice required to vacate, and we're planning for that at this point. So back to the beginning. Wanted to go through all the workplace needs, but that is back to the change order request. We are asking that you approve resolution 24XXX, authorizing the city manager to execute a change order to the existing contract with Omni Design Incorporated in the amount of $159,037. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, bring it back to council. Councilman Strong.
Yes, if we want to go back to up here, upstairs, I'm really confused about up there. It looks like you took over the whole city council office area into a conference room. So where do we go? Where does the city manager go?
it would be nice if you explained the rest of what's going to be happening
Well, that
upstairs.
was a conceptual plan, but the city manager's office is staying in the same location. The council office, a new council office will be created in a private area of the building, so you still have a private office for your own needs. And we'll certainly review that with you when the plans are fine.
And the same thing for IT. I didn't see where IT was going.
It was going to
Airport.
Second Windway.
Oh, they're going out to the airport too. All right, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Chris Balch.
I'm good.
Pro Tem Gregory.
So out on Second Wind, you're not expecting much public attention out there, but you'll have a desk anyway?
We will be accepting bids most likely out there. We're still developing those plans, but since DETIS will be out there and all the capital improvement projects managed there, we're expecting contractors will likely deliver their bids and will open bids at that location. There is a large conference room that would serve perfectly for that.
Will you allow dogs? Just a question. No, one more question. I have a question on the change order.
Yes.
So the change order is for the construction of 3 buildings, correct?
Yes.
And are those buildings, what are they made of?
So the standalone utilities department building is designed to mimic Fire Station 3. It has the same frontage.
Okay.
So it's standard wood frame construction. The other 2 large maintenance buildings are metal buildings.
Okay. And are you going to, it's a technical question, is the water yard going to stay with water equipment downtown?
Those people are not moving. The water and streets yard is staying on Paso Robles Street.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Balch.
Thank you. I did think of a question. I don't know enough about your day-to-day operations, but meetings, things like that. Used to have an office out at the airport. John has an office out there. There's some traffic considerations to have out there. If you have to have meetings with other people in the within the city, are there enough bandwidth to have Zoom-type meetings to eliminate the possibilities of having to travel across town?
Yes, we're absolutely planning for that. Again, the large conference room there will be equipped to have Teams or Zoom meetings, as well as the offices. But if you drive it, there can be traffic at certain times of the day, but all staff knows that they'll be driving here for meetings when it makes the most sense.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions then? No, we're good. Okay, we'll go ahead and then open up to the public. Anyone wishing to have public comment on this one, please come forward. Dale, welcome.
Dale Guston. The only comment I have is, looks like we're never going to get a separate city hall from the library. Too bad.
Never say never, but yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, we'll bring it back to council for discussion and or action.
Mayor Hammond.
Pro Tem Gregory.
I'd like to go ahead and make a recommendation to approve Resolution 24XXX, authorizing the city manager to execute a change order to the existing contract with Omni Design Incorporated in the amount of $159,037, bringing the total contract to $1,058,490, with the city manager and city attorney making minor technical and non-substantive changes as necessary, consistent with the council's overall intent, and finding that this action is consistent with the previously certified negative declaration. Where am I going? Results for November 5th, 2024.
No. Yep.
Union Road Safety Training Center.
Previously
Union Road
certified
Safety
mitigated negative declaration for the Union Road Safety Training Center, and no additional CEQA review is required.
Second.
There you go. Okay. All right. So we have a motion by Gregory, second by Strong. Discussion. Frida, what I'd like to see when you get some drawings on the ground, I'd like to see if maybe we have 2 2-in-1s on something like this, so we kind of understand what your thoughts are, where we can over the table kind of look and see and throw our 2 cents into,
Of course.
what we're doing. So other than that, it's good to go. All right, we'll call for the question then. Leslie?
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Thank you. Moving on to item 3 of discussion. Approval of the final map, track 3149 for recordation, Veneto Planning Area 9, Olson South Chandler, specific plan PA-9. And Warren, do you have that item?
Yes, let's get it up here on the screen.
Councilmember Bausch, did you want to make your disclosure again?
I had an ex parte meeting, Mr. Ryan Hagan on the 7th.
Okay, this is actually a follow-up to the item that you considered earlier, which is the CFD annexation. This is the same property. Normally, the final maps are on consent, but we had to conduct the public hearing election. That's why this is a discussion item versus just a consent item. So the area we're talking about, this is track 3149. It's a final map. It's this area, area 9 of the overall Olson South Chandler specific plan area. This is the approved tentative map. This came back for amendments that the council approved a couple months ago. 112 residential lots, 11 common lots, a total of 123 lots. This is the tentative lot layout. Here's your final map. You can see it matches exactly with the tentative map, which is required for consistency. This is the CFD annexation that we talked about earlier. So the recommendation tonight is to adopt the attached resolution. It will basically execute these listed items and then to direct the city engineer to record all documents required by conditions of approval. That concludes staff's report.
Okay. Council questions on the item? I had one, if you would, Warren. There was your plot plan there back. It does not pertain to this one. It's that one right there. That one. All the ones on the Our Town side, are those cul-de-sacs, or I mean, is that in our city, or what is that right there? That area to the north of Sherwood Road.
So it's this area here.
Yes.
That's the Our Town subdivision. It was subdivided in 1962. They're all legal lots of record. There's about 56 lots total there, I believe. That's all in the city limits. As part of the Olson South Chandler specific plan, that project was included. It is now going to be hooked up to city water and sewer. That's why those lots were never developed in the 60s. And once water and sewer is available, all those lots are legal lots. The roads just need to be repaved, and those are set for construction.
Is it pretty much the same layout where we see now on plan as what it was before?
Yeah, right now the plan, I believe the owner's plan is to leave the lots exactly as is and just to provide the sewers, repave the roads, and build houses.
Got it. All right, thank you. Any other questions?
I do.
Yeah, Pro Tem Gregory.
So Warren, how many houses does that include for that area for the old town?
Our town? I think there's about 55 or 56 legal lots of record. There's about a half dozen houses that exist on this first cul-de-sac that will get remodeled and cleaned up. And then this parcel right here also belongs to our town. It wasn't subdivided. It originally was an access road. So they're in the process of coming in with a subdivision on that as well. They'll probably create another dozen lots.
Okay, thank you.
Is that where their water tank was at one time?
The water tanks were actually down here on this parcel here, and that's been transferred to the master developer, and that's now part of a separate planning area.
Got it. Fred.
So this is R1,
our town?
It's single-family residential. It's under the specific plans. It's not R1.
Under state law, though, they could have as many as 4 plexes on each lot, technically.
With the ADU laws, that's definitely true.
Right. And I don't think they can all, I can't have that and a mother-in-law place.
So you can have up to, you can have the primary unit and 2 ADU units,
Well, you
the
can have 2
junior
ADUs.
and the regular ADU unit. And then possibly, you know, if you do the SB9, you could create even additional units. So there's a variety of options under state law now.
Okay, so basically, we can't really estimate how many houses are going to go there. Depends on what the individual owners want to do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about our town.
Still questioning on that.
No, but it's.
No, I know. We're just.
Well, it's related to this item.
Yeah, we're just wondering. All right, let's do that. Okay, any other questions from council? All right, we'll open it up then to the public. Anyone wishing to have any comment on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll bring it back then to council for discussion and or action.
So I have a question for city council, for our attorney. So if I move to make, say, approve resolution 24XXX, A through F, or do you want me to read the whole thing?
Nope, you can go with A through F on this one. It was supposed to be on the consent calendar.
Then I'll make that
The only reason
motion.
it's not is because we had to do it after the CFD.
So I move that we approve resolution 24XXX, including items A through F.
Second.
Okay.
Bausch.
Bausch, yeah, I think Bausch, Jim, you won that one. But so basically, item 1, A through B as proposed on our agenda, correct? All right. Any discussion on the motion? All right, we'll call for the question, Melissa.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good. We're on to item 4. That's a second reading by title only and adoption of ordinance 1153, amending the Paso Robles Municipal Code, Chapter 12.44.010 regarding employee parking permits. Mr. Huot.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to wait just one moment here while we get everything loaded up. Good evening. Yes, so at your December 3rd City Council meeting, staff presented findings based upon research and analysis that the City Council requested of staff to conduct. At the time, staff was looking for feedback on whether or not things like a low-cost decal program and additional enforcement were things that the council would like to consider as it relates to the employee lot program. And at that time, we had not conducted any outreach, only because we were looking to get some direction from the city council. Of course, at that meeting, the council did take an action to approve first reading of an ordinance that would actually eliminate the program. So staff's recommendation, and then as part of that first reading, the council had requested that staff do additional outreach to stakeholder groups, as well as bring the item back for second reading as a discussion item as opposed to a consent calendar item, which we were doing this evening. Staff's recommendation has not changed for the factors that we discussed last time, including cost for enforcement, as well as the paid parking versus the on-street free parking, and the issues there. Staff's not recommending to pursue the low-cost employee parking lot program and to remove all those lot restrictions as of the 1st of January of 2025. Under, staff's recommendations, those spaces, about 98, would convert to first come, first serve, still be available for downtown employee parking, but that without cost to the employer or the employee. Of course, still would benefit the downtown area. There would need to be some updated signage and stakeholder outreach. But otherwise, that would be staff's recommendation on the first item. And then we discussed the 30-minute spots that are still marked on street around downtown. I believe there's about 35 of those, and staff was recommending to not make any adjustments to those. They seem to be working kind of on the honor system, again, with complaint-driven enforcement as staff from PD is available. So again, with that, we're here to answer any questions. I have more slides should we need to discuss anything further. Otherwise, staff is recommending that the City Council approve second reading this evening.
Okay, open up for questions.
I do.
Councilmember Beal? Okay. Councilman Strong? Okay. Pro Tem Gregory?
So I don't know who can answer this question, but I'm going to ask it. So I had some conversations with some of our local businesses downtown, And one of the things that I think Mr. Nelson actually said originally is that we'll try to come back and keep it as low cost as possible for the employees and for the businesses. So this might be a harebrained idea, but I think it would work really well, and I'm going to say it. And it's a question. Is there anything legally wrong with leaving the signs up and not enforcing the program?
I don't believe so, no.
Chief Nord, you want to answer that part of it? Yeah.
Yes, that last. Okay.
No, there's nothing legally wrong with doing that. Obviously, that's at the will of the council to do.
Okay, thank you.
One point of clarification that I'd like to make is that we talked about this previously, is that our old vendor Flowbird was the one that was kind of managing the employee permit registration behind the scenes. So since the on-street paid parking program went away, Flowbird obviously is no longer in the picture. So I believe our annual permits are coming to a close on December 31st or whatever. So after January 1st, there isn't going to be a permit to issue, so it would be really on the honor system.
Yeah, so my question's not for the program, but just for the signs.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Mr. Bausch.
Actually, oh, sorry.
Hang on, Chris, I'll get back to you. Chris Bausch.
Thank you. So people have made the question, I can't answer this, but I'm going to tie two issues that are both controversial at this point. We can't afford anybody to I think, and I'm extrapolating here, like a half-time officer for parking enforcement. And then because it's $120,000 a year for a part-time, and help me with my numbers here, Chief. But we also can't afford to a rationale of a part-time person to enforce a dog patrol in the park. So if you had two part-time duty park and parking, that might be some justification if we ever come back to revisit this in the future. Does that make any sense at all?
So we obviously are able to enforce, but there would not be, there's obviously contributing factors to when we have time and what we can and can't do with our current staff.
It's just a matter of priority set by the council.
It's just, if you guys choose to leave signs up, for example,
right,
and people are allowed to park there, obviously it's going to be on an honor system because we won't have any mechanism to actually enforce anything.
Right.
So if we do create some sort of program again, and there needs to be enforcement, yes, obviously we can enforce it. It's going to be, the council's will of what you want of us to do.
Right.
Do you want us to leave this up to the public to be trusting and, only employees are going to park there, or do we want it enforcement driven?
Well, my sense is that we want to go on the honor system today. I think some of the comments, a couple of the letters that we received, for example, indicated, to monitor this and let's see what happens down the road. So with that in mind, that might be one of the solutions, a better enforcement down the road. No, I don't want to do the enforcement right now today. I do like the idea. In fact, I think I brought it up at the last meeting, leave the signs up. I think that's a brilliant idea. I don't know about all of the signs, but I think leaving the signs up that say employee parking, I think that's smart. I still think that there are documents that are in the old city attorney's office right here in downtown Paso Robles that have yet to be recovered. We need to go get those. And I think that may shed some light onto how ownership and title flowed to those and who paid for those. And I think that still has bearing on this, and that needs to be discussed before we make a decision. However, I'm thinking about how to solve this down the road. So thank you for chiming in.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions? Councilmember Beal.
I thought the staff report was very helpful. It explained sort of the timeline and the context, but for people that haven't read the staff report, could you just review the timeline over the last 6 months briefly about where we've been and how we got to where we are right now?
Thank you, Councilmember Beal. So back in May, I believe, of this year, the City Council voted to eliminate the on-street paid parking program. Subsequent to that, in August of this year, the City Council directed staff to review several elements of the employee parking lot program, given that it was kind of the remnant of the broader program. And so at that time, staff was directed to do research on the ownership and usage restrictions of the employee lots, research a reduced or no-cost decal-based permit system, explore options and associated cost with increasing enforcement, and then conduct outreach to the downtown parking stakeholders. In December, as I mentioned previously, staff came back and presented its analysis on the first 3 items, withholding the outreach only because, again, if there was going to be further clarification or direction by the council, we wanted to receive that before going out and more broadly engaging with the stakeholders, again, only because we did not want to be in front of them with maybe information or assumptions before getting direction from the City Council. So you held first reading and approved first reading of the ordinance to eliminate the program on December 3rd, and then we are back here today based upon that approval and have the second reading in front of you today.
Any further questions on that? Yes. Okay. All right. Then the council's done with questions, and then we'll open it up to public. Anybody wishing to have a comment on this item, please come forward.
Dave Nelson, Paso Robles. I've only got 3 minutes, so I'm going to let you read some of this stuff. I've collected some additional feedback from people. I want to point out, this is the tail wagging the dog. You should be listening. You are our representatives, the people, the businesses, the employees. You should be taking direction and recommendations from us. My recommendation on August 20th was to leave them the way they were. That was from my talking to businesses and employees, 37 of them on August 19th. I've subsequently talked to 9 businesses representing 44 employees, and the results are here. They want to keep them. They want to keep them with 0 cost for employees. One of them said low cost. There's some comments, there are quotes at the bottom from 3 of them saying that they want to keep them and why. 30 out of 44 of them use them now, even the ones that don't want to keep them. So I want to make a couple corrections. The employee parking lot program dates back to 1981. Jeffrey's going to tell you about that. Way back. This is not part of the paid parking program. Okay? It dates way back. There is a part of the basis for the staff's recommendation is that there's no demand. That is a false basis because the permitting software was turned off in May. There is no way for people to get permits. That's why the lots are not full. Also, the permits cost money. If they didn't cost money, we can increase demand. If we promote them, we can increase demand for employees. The business owners clearly want to keep them and are using them now. Those are the people, those are your constituents. I'm not asking for the city staff, with all due respect, to tell us what the business model is. I'm asking you to listen to the people. That's who you represent. Enforcement, not necessary. They're self-enforcing. They have been now. We don't need new officers every time there's a new street we need to enforce the police or the speed limit on. This is a minor thing. There are 150 permits ignored. This is 160 license plate numbers. This is how much it would take to enforce all the parking. You print all of the license plates in alphabetical order, and you go down the lot and see which ones are occasionally. I'm sure Ryan can tell you this is a high school programming project to write a web page to register 150 things. This is a very easy thing to do. I'll let him comment on that. Anyway, back to this. Listen to the people. I collected this information. I told these people I would come here and represent them. They can't all come. Please listen. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Jeffrey?
Good evening, Councilman and women. Jeff Wiesinger, Jeffrey's Wine Country Barbecue, and president of the Paso Robles Main Street Association. I submitted a couple letters earlier this afternoon. Was everyone able to get those?
We got them.
Thank you. So I am speaking on behalf of the Paso Robles Main Street Association first. We are in support of keeping the lots designated for employee parking. I expressed in my letter, I think the number one goal is a gesture of goodwill. This has been a really contentious issue that has been kind of dragging down the image of Paso Robles from the community to visitors alike. I've read the staff report several times, now listened to the meeting from the beginning of the month, and then just hearing Chief talk about the lack of enforcement. And I don't think any of us really have a problem with the lack of enforcement. It's been all about goodwill, trust, signage that demonstrating to the community, to the local businesses, to the employees that we hear you and we are doing everything we can to try to solve the perceived parking program, the parking problem rather. To just leave the signs up, there's no financial impact. It really becomes a communication kind of issue. And I'm in a strong belief that if you're in the know, then you're in the know. We're not hiding anything from anyone, but the current program allows us in the Main Street Association and myself speaking on behalf of just being a business owner in downtown, we are trying to resolve this issue. We're trying hard to get our employees to park off street and in these lots. And if it's not going to cost anything to enforce, to leave the signs up, and we allow the program to continue on in the event that we want to bring it up again in the future. I don't want to impart any fiscal impact to the city, so I'm definitely cognizant and aware of that. I mean, Councilman, you brought up the dog issues. There's quite a few between those two issues that it's not necessarily going to be enforced, but the signage will help the honor system. You know, it's really about the honor system and showing the community and the local businesses that we are not going to completely abandon this employee parking program. I think it's an important program. I think it provides a lot of benefit to the city and to our local businesses. So I'm sorry for not speaking clearly enough, but I took a lot of time last night to write my thoughts down. So if you get an opportunity to read those again, I'd appreciate it. I know my time is up, but I also wanted to submit, there's still conversation that these parking lots were at one time purchased by local businesses. And Norma Moy has a huge treasure trove of documents, and I happen to come across some documents. So I'm hoping maybe after the meeting or at some point we can submit these documents to kind of clarify that these are in fact paid for by the city and they were not at one time purchased by local businesses.
Jeffrey, if you want to hand that over to staff, we can certainly look at that evidence. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Dale?
Good evening again, Dale Guston. Ms. Beal, I was here in '83 presenting a time parking program to the city. The city took the flim-flam promises of Julie Dixon that she had a better program that would make a lot of money. So the city got taken in by it and invested $1 million, and it failed. Now, it started off with the parking lots for the employees, which was a great idea. And it also was only enforced Monday through Friday ending at 6 p.m. in the evening. Everybody loved that. Even the locals could live with that. But then Julie Dixon comes along and says, oh, we got to change this. And you foolish people listened to her. 7 days a week till 8 o'clock at night. And of course, you killed all the locals coming to town. And the business people were upset with you for doing that. And you refused to listen to us until we got legal cease and desist letters served on you. Now, you had three employees enforcing that thing that was a failure. The time parking would have only taken one part-time. But however, Mr. Bausch has checked into this license reading thing, and it can be done pretty cheap. So why does the city invest millions of dollars on everything but its downtown parking request to enforce the employee parking lots? It wouldn't cost $120,000 for one part-time person with a license reader, and you give out the permits free annually, make them renew, and there's times when I have seen every one of these employee parking lots full with employees. Now, there's a problem enforcing everybody. We know that. Let's leave it up to the employers to enforce their employees. But give us some help. Why just abandon the program? Why not modify it down to no cost and one part-time person to enforce it? Please.
Welcome.
Hi. Do I push something or does that?
No, you're good to go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, Dominique Lebourgeois. I represent Sunshine Olive Oil. I'm a new business in town, and I'm begging you, please do not get rid of those lots with the parking, because it's hard to find parking after 10 o'clock in the morning. Some days, not every day, but especially on the weekends, and especially if there's something going on in the park. When there's something going on in the park, there is no parking anywhere, even in those lots. It's pretty bad. So please, I'm just begging, don't take away those lots. Don't take away the signs. At least I can tell my employees you have to park in those lots. Don't park across the street in front of the neighbors, because all they do is go and park in front of my store and then so on and so forth, and all up and down the streets. Anyway, just please, thank you.
Thank you. Sharon, welcome.
Remember me?
Yes, I do.
Listen to the people. No paid parking. They told us that businesses could tell their employees where to park. There's no impetus for the employees to utilize these parking places when they can park anywhere on the street. There's no enforcement. And to just correct a little bit of the numbers, part-time is about 25,000. The 120 was a full-time with benefits. There's no honor to lying to people in our community of what a public parking place is utilized as. There's no honor in that. They ought to have the same ability to park anywhere that anyone else does. The employees can park anywhere they want. So can anybody else. And when it gets busy downtown, you would hope that the businesses are busy as well. Even when we're having things in the park, that it bleeds over into the businesses. There was an exhaustive title search. I don't know about the papers that Norma Moy has. That would be interesting if the title company was unaware of some papers. They make mistakes. It could happen. but we haven't seen anything presented that would verify that there are other papers. And the no enforcement, we don't need to go down that road again. I thought we had learned our lesson. I was told that we had. So I'd like to see those lots utilized for anybody and everybody who wants to park there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Point of order. I have the.
Okay.
You want to know why?
No.
Mr. Guston, I need you to
Nope.
sit down, please.
Mayor Hammond.
Anyone else?
Mayor Hammond, we do have a caller.
Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
Dana Broden.
Hello, can you hear us?
Hi, yeah, this is Dana Roden. I just wanted to put in my 2 cents. I think that it was the right move to get rid of the paid parking program, and I think that it would be the right move to also get rid of the employee program for those parking lots, because I like to go downtown, and when there's no place to park downtown, and I would like to be, I for one would like to be able to park in those lots that are now designated for employees, and it's frustrating to me when I'm trying to do some shopping or do some dining or whatever downtown, and I see employees parking in front of the businesses and whatnot and taking up those spaces. I think this may just be my opinion, but I feel like they only park in those parking lots when there's nowhere to park on the street. And it takes away the opportunity for me to park. And I hear some people talking at the podium saying that they're, speaking for the people, and I have a different opinion, and I just wanted to call in and let you know what that was. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else, Melissa?
No, sir.
Very good. We'll close public comment and bring it back to council for discussion. John. Pro Tem Gregory.
Yeah, I'm going to start out by saying today I always get a quick dinner before I come to the meal. And the parking lot behind Odyssey Cafe had 49 cars in it. They're all employees. So to say the employees don't use these parking lots is, I don't believe that. But I want to just talk about concept. It doesn't matter what the lots were bought for or who paid for them. They're for parking, whether it be for employees or for the public. We have a system that is working generally well for the employees with these parking spots now. And there is zero cost to us to leave the signs up, let the employees park there who are interested enough in being there from their employers, and let it work. 6 months down the line, if you want to do some kind of enforcement with the license plate readers, we can discuss it. But right now, if we have employees parking in those parking lots, we owe it to the employees and the employers. That's for them. And I'm fully supportive of just leaving the way it is, coming back in 6 months. And if there's enough evidence there to enforce, we enforce. If there isn't, let it lie. It costs us no money. And I'll guarantee you, anybody that's ever gotten a ticket in the city of Paso Robles for parking will not park in those parking lots. That's my 2 cents worth. Because it costs a lot of money.
Councilman
Not
Strong.
to bring up old times.
Councilman Strong, go ahead.
There's a number of aspects to this. There's the legal aspects and there's the desirable aspects. I like Councilman Gregory's idea about don't change the parking signs. However, Chief Nord has a responsibility as a law enforcement, head of our law enforcement. If there's a law on the books, he has to enforce it. So we could still pass this ordinance that we passed and take the restrictions off, but leave the signs up. Now, the one group that will definitely not park there in that case is the tourists, because they won't know that it's anything but what they see. So the only ones that are going to take advantage of are those of the public who actually listen to us or read what's happening here. And frankly, that's a very small percentage, I think we've all found out from the elections. So we could proceed with this thing. And as far as who purchased the lots, when we had the downtown parking district and the employers or the owners of the buildings bought those lots, it was as in lieu parking because they didn't have enough parking for their business on the street. So they paid into this to buy lots to make up for that parking, which was supposed to be for general parking. It wasn't just for their employee parking. That was never the intention. But to use it for that right now, Councilman Gregory's idea is great. Finish up the ordinance, take the restriction off so the chief doesn't have to enforce it. Because if we leave it up and he has to enforce it, that's his job. His job is to enforce the law. So if you leave those on and leave them restricted illegally, then he's got to enforce it. That is going to take money. Now, if it's Main Street that really wants this, then they can pay for it. All we have to do is move their money over that we usually give to them and create a part-time position instead. But I don't think Main Street would really want to lose that money. So I think the best answer for everybody is finish up the ordinance and leave the signs up. And it pretty much solves the problem. Then the other thing about this is, why are we meddling in businesses? Why are we telling their employees what they can or can't do? That's the job of the business owner. I mean, if he can tell his people how to dress when they're working, he can also tell them where to park when they're working, because that's part of the job of an employer, to regulate his employees when they're on the clock. He's paying for their time. He has the right to tell them what to do during that time. So that's up to them. And I think that solves the whole issue. We don't have to enforce anything, but we still are discouraging people from parking there. And then it's up to the employer to get their people parking there. And here's the best thing about it. Very few people go downtown before the business is open. Why do you go downtown and park and just sit there and twiddle your thumbs? You're not going to go downtown until there's something to do downtown. Therefore, the employees have to get there before their shift starts. They still have the best access to the parking lots, just as they do to all the parking on the street. We can't legally restrict them from using the street either. We've already had that opinion from our own attorney. So I'd say just proceed with this ordinance, finish it up, and leave the signs alone. Just leave them up.
Councilmember Beal, any questions or discussion items?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, just as a little disclosure, I attended the last meeting with the first reading, so I'm up to speed on this issue. I also spoke with Jeffrey on the phone yesterday and spoke with Jolie Yaguda also on the phone. When I sort of went into yesterday, it was I just read the staff report and kind of thought that was like the proper recommendation. And after having these phone calls with the two business owners, and after learning that they had been discussing things with the executive committee of Main Street, that it was pretty well put forward. Jolie made some pretty compelling arguments about keeping employee parking. And we're in the middle of a dilemma, right? Because we have free public parking on the street, and we want to charge and somehow control parking for employees and somehow manage that. I want to just acknowledge the fact that this has been going on for a very long time and that everybody's exhausted. And everybody's kind of fed up. So I want to acknowledge that. At the same time, at the last meeting, we asked for the stakeholders to come forward and give input. Granted, it's kind of late. We got the letters yesterday, we got the phone calls yesterday for a meeting today, and this issue's been sort of simmering for a little while. But we asked for input, and we got input. And what we're hearing is that as an organization, Main Street wants to keep some form of employee parking. I think one of the challenges with this issue as it's gone over the years, right, is that different people were trying to solve different problems in looking at the parking issue. And even just hearing some of the comments tonight, I think that's also the case, that people are kind of addressing different issues. For me, as a council person, granted a newly elected council person, I'm the new kid on the block. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I also don't think it's my role to be noodling through the details. Do this, do that, change the sign, tell Chief Nord to do this. I don't think those details are what we're supposed to be doing. I think we're supposed to be setting like high level direction to move forward. So even like taking the suggestion and saying, we'll keep the signs up as they are, just don't enforce it, see how it goes. There are still some details to work out in that, right? Okay, keep the signs up. Are you still going to charge people? You wouldn't charge for it? Okay. Well, I mean, that hasn't really been discussed, but I think those are some details that need to get worked out. When I had the conversation with Jolie, she really communicated to me some kind of hybrid concepts, and it was new. I hadn't really thought about it. I didn't really have time to digest it. You know, what is the city's responsibility? What is Main Street's? What are the businesses' responsibility? You know, what is the appropriate or best way to move forward? But in this moment right now, we're hearing that Main Street wants to keep some iteration of employee parking available. So, you know, I'm a process person. I think it's important to get together and make sure people are agreeing on a common problem, that they're agreeing on like assumptions, on the same facts, on the same information to be moving forward. Because you aren't agreeing on that, and even sitting in this room, we're going to have different opinions. But if you get a little group together, you agree on that before you come up with a solution. So even saying keep it the same, I'm not sure if we can actually really. I don't know. But those are my 2 cents. I really want to thank staff for talking me through it, and council for explaining what our options are. But those are my thoughts. Thanks.
I do want to clarify something.
Well, okay, be quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to clarify that with this ordinance, you cannot charge for it. Because once you've eliminated it, you can't charge for anybody to park there, including the employees. So that does eliminate the charge. And leaving the signs up doesn't do any harm in any way. It's just meaningless. Except it'll have an effect, but it takes that load off of the chief too, because he doesn't have to hire anybody to try to enforce something that doesn't exist.
Okay, Brett.
Thank you.
Yep. Councilman Bausch.
Thank you. Couple things. The documentation for the assessment is in the range of about $4,000 per parcel. It's different than the in lieu fees that you mentioned, Councilmember Strong.
They were then.
There were also in lieu fees, but that's different than the assessments. So they're two different animals, and they don't conflate. They're different. We'll come back to that in a second. I really think council and staff should avail themselves of the assessment documentation. I think that's important. We can do that if we choose to look at a phased approach. I think there is confusion on whether this is going to be enforced or not. I think if we announce to our employees that there are no more paid permits, and if we do that January 1st, I'm good with that. We don't take down the signage. We still leave it as an employee lot. I'm good with that. I think we will encourage our employees to use those lots. We will see better participation and full utilization of those lots, not just in the early morning hours like you mentioned, but also later in the day when other shifts come on, later in the evening, for example, when restaurant workers come downtown. I think those people need to have spaces to park as well. So we're trying something similar to what we're doing now, but we're giving it a new twist. And I think we need to avail ourselves of that. Somebody mentioned 6 months. I think 6 months is at least a good time to give that a try. I don't know if tabling this today where we're at makes sense and bring it back in 6 months. We have the first reading. We can table the second reading for 6 months and see. I think we can announce that we're not going to sell any more permits. Permits aren't needed. That might take some tweaking. I'll defer to legal on that. But I think we really need to keep these employee lots. That seems to be the consensus out there among employees and most of the business owners. Yes.
Pro Tem Gregory.
So I don't know who could answer this question, but Damien, are you at any risk of not enforcing this regulation?
No, sir. And that's, and again, I will do what the council asked me to do. That I want that on the record. I'm not the one who is saying I want to go enforce this every day. That's.
Yeah, we don't want to put you at risk. That's all.
But again, yeah, if the request is we leave them up and it's, I'm completely okay with that.
Okay, great.
And if I could just, if this is something that we do, we've talked about the business owners being able to talk to their employees. They're the ones who if we're able to get with Main Street and ultimately have them relay the information to their employees so that we are not announcing it. I mean, obviously we're here at a city council meeting, it's public, but if they are able to get with the business owners down on Main Street in downtown, they can still tell their staff that their employees park in these locations.
Okay. That's right. Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Good point.
Yep.
Right. Mr. Mayor, though, there's another question.
Go ahead, Fred.
And that is, if Mr. Bausch is correct, and the city doesn't own those lots, it's owned by the business owners.
Let me correct Fred. The city owns the lots.
Yes, they do.
The business owners were assessed to pay for those lots.
Oh, okay.
But as far as our research has gone, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mr. Hood, there is no evidence or any documentation that they're restrictive.
That's correct. We did title search. We got title guarantees for all of the lots. We pulled the deeds.
Yep.
The city bought these properties going back into the 1960s through the 80s, depending on the lot. The lots have been consolidated and separated. All sorts of things have happened in the history of them, but there are no restrictions on the title, and there are no restrictions in the deeds that we were able to pull.
Exactly.
But the same attorney, without going into too much detail, we know that the same attorney didn't always record things that he was supposed to record.
Well, what's law and what's recorded is what we have to go by.
If it's not recorded,
exactly.
That's what we're bound by.
But it's still the right thing to do, and it still gets litigated down the road, as we well know.
All right, Chris, thank you. Let me have my talk here, as in I have talked to one of the business owners, actually past mayor of Canso. He was one of the folks that were engaged with Mary Studer at the time to purchase some of these lots, and he recalls no language of any kind. They were just to be bought and given to the city. That's what we show as far as documented evidence, too. So unless these folks like yourself or somebody else has something to bring forward, let's get it to staff. However, at this point in time, we can always come back on this.
We told them to sit down.
He had his chance. Right? He did. Did he not? Okay. So here's my point. I can't believe the council would do something, to my thinking, is dishonorable or unethical to leave signs up for law-abiding citizens to obey when you know we will not be enforcing them. Doesn't that rub you guys a little different at this point? Because to me, if we don't like a law, we change the law. That's the way we've always worked. To put up signs saying that this is restricted to employee parking and then not enforce it makes only the law-abiding citizens stay out. Do we see that logic? So that's why I'm totally against this. If we're going to not make these any longer restrictive to employee parking, then it's public parking. Anyone can use them. And again, we've already given all the employees rights to their very front parking right in front of their store. There's nothing we can do about that. At the end of that whole program, we asked the parking group, is there any other way or any other proposal that you would like us to consider? It was crickets at that point. Nothing came forward. So we disbanded it. I voted to get rid of it. We've gotten rid of it. Now what I'm hearing is the best of all worlds. They can park in front of their store, but they also want to have proprietary parking too. So that's my thought here. Why are we doing something that will basically restrict the law-abiding citizen when it's public parking? They have a right to be there as well. They paid for it. It's their property, but it's restrictive to employees who can also park right in front of their store. Makes no difference in my mind why we're doing that.
Just a little counterpoint.
Chris,
when we were talking about eliminating the parking and giving them the right to park in front of their store, and you heard crickets, no mention was made of eliminating the employee parking lots. Had that entered the conversation, you may have heard some pushback at that point. The pushback or the elimination of the employee parking lots didn't come about until months later.
Point taken. But if we're going to go back there, then I'm going to want to bring back the paid parking on the street. I mean, that's really, it's either or.
You said Norma
both the best worlds here.
Did you say Norma would want to bring back?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I mean, if we're going to allow this to continue with only paid or only employee parkings in these 4 lots, then it's the best of all worlds for an employee. He can park wherever he wants in town. Plus, he can also have proprietary parking that no one else can park in these. And that just makes no sense to me. And it's up to you guys.
At least try it for a few months and see what happens?
My point here is if we're going to remove these from employee parking, we should also remove the signs to say that there is no restriction to anybody. They are public parking. And I don't like the fact that we're telling the police department just to look the other way. That just doesn't make sense to me. They're sworn to uphold the law. The sign says it's only for employee parking, but you're telling them disregard it. That makes no sense to me, guys. Yeah. So
we have lots and lots of, we heard this during during the dog issue in the park. There's lots of laws on the books that aren't enforced.
We said that originally, I remember Norma, when we started this 6-8 years ago, she talked her head off trying to get these people to park outside the downtown area. It didn't work. We tried
No, I'm talking about laws that are enforced and laws that aren't enforced.
Well, we're sticking to the
There's lots of laws on the books that aren't enforced.
We're sticking to the subject here, Chris, in this parking. So at this point, we have a recommendation before us. Councilmember Beal.
This is really, thank you, sir. And this is a really interesting conversation, and it has me thinking that we're really looking at this with sort of all or nothing thinking. Very black and white, not a lot of nuance in this conversation. And so maybe a compromise next step would be, and I appreciate your comments about having a sign up and just ignoring it, right? I appreciate that. Like, we have rules, but we should be really thoughtful about this. And maybe there isn't a good solution, right? Maybe, there's going to be some people that don't get what they want. But I think we can all agree that we want employees to park somewhere else than in front of, and those lots could be an option. So maybe the option right now, today, because we have something on the agenda, is we table this item. We set up a little committee. I know this is just torture for everyone, so I appreciate if you're like just dropping your head in like exhaustion, and really just talk about this particular item. There might be some nuanced solutions. I don't know what the city can and cannot do. I don't know you know, how Chief Nord would weigh in. I would like to be hearing from some employees, right? So, and maybe put a time limit on it. So maybe not 6 months, and you bring it back in a couple months, and maybe they come up with something, maybe they don't. But at least, you know, we had stakeholders come up and say that they wanted something.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to talk.
Pro Tem Gregory, go ahead.
Okay. So I think Councilman Beal's correct. I think what we should do is continue the item and create an ordinance that would work for us. In the meantime, just leave it the way it is. And if we're going to really enforce employee parking, even though it'll be free, we design an ordinance that works, it's fair. So one of my suggestions in a letter I wrote to Jolie is that real employee parking, in my opinion, from what I know of having the Odyssey, from 8 in the morning till 6 in the evening, what that does, it opens up public parking after 6 o'clock. Anybody that works in the evening in a restaurant is working by 6 o'clock.
Ah, good point.
So just think about this. When we need those parking spots for the public, it's after 6 o'clock. So if they're not there, it's a simple fix. I know you guys don't like putting tape over signs and stuff like that, but I think we need to keep this simpler than it is, and that is we owe the employees a place to park. It's worked well for the most part. John, I don't believe that employees feel entitled that they can park either or. The employees that are going to park in the parking lots are going to park in the parking lots and save the off-street parking. So I think that's more important to deal with than having an ordinance that's not correct.
I would say take the signs off and still let them do that. I just don't like the idea, the fact that you're trying to keep law-abiding citizens from a particular public lot just to make more spaces so that they can park there.
Would you make the 6 o'clock part of the new ordinance?
We have no way to enforce this, Chris.
We could amend
it. I like that. I think that's a good idea.
I think it's the best
If we table this, then the current situation exists. That means it is paid. The permits will start as of January 1st.
No.
That's what's in effect.
No.
If you table this, then what's currently in effect is in effect.
Unless we make
unless we quickly make a change.
Right.
But that's up to us. That has to be at a future agenda.
The sunset could continue.
I think the details of this should get worked out by a smaller group.
I think, ask our city attorney what this is, if that's true or not.
So if you leave the ordinance on the books, the ordinance is on the books. My understanding from staff is that when we eliminated the paid parking program, we eliminated Flowbird and any source to accommodate or produce the permits. So there's no one to give permits.
Thank
so
you.
You will have an ordinance on the books that says the city manager or his designee may issue downtown employee parking permits, ... and it goes on from there.
Okay.
The city manager may not choose to do that. It's permissive. So if your direction to staff is to leave this ordinance on the books, you can leave it on the books and tell staff not to issue permits. That is your option. You will have signs up that say that they are permit spots, and that's what your signs will say. It's the status quo. It would be what we have today. Just one, if I can, real quick on a related note. I'm not sure which speaker gave us the documents. The documents relate to the parking assessment district and some bonds that were issued by the city. They're not related to title issues associated with the spots or the lots themselves. They're related to revenue bonds that the city issued in the 1980s for the parking assessment district.
Okay.
Thank you for the documents.
I want to make a stab. I want to make a stab at a motion. So, hearing what Elizabeth just had to say, I'm going to make a motion that we delay this action for 6 months, and that the representative group for parking from Main Street and businesses meet with city staff or one city staff person who's in charge. I guess you're the new guy since Damien doesn't want to do it anymore, Chris. Anyway, so in that 6 months' time, come back and let's take a look, because I got to tell you, it's been working for the last 4 months. And I don't want to remove 98 employee parking spots from our inventory. I think it's very important, regardless of who uses it. But I'm telling you, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. would work, but I don't want to make that change. I want that to come from Main Street and the parking group. So leave it sit for 6 months, bring it back with action.
So for clarification, your motion would be to continue the item to a date certain, which would be the June 17th meeting.
Yes.
Second.
So we have a motion by Gregory, second by Bausch. Discussion. Okay,
I've been opposed to the parking program, except at the very beginning. The mayor talked me into starting this in the first place, and it was later that even he decided, why are we doing this and meddling in businesses and their business? Because it's up to them what they want to do. We shouldn't have started this in the first place, and I want to get back to the way it used to be. Just we stay out of parking, period.
Yep. Okay, any other discussion? All right, Melissa, go ahead and call the question.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
No.
Mayor Hammond?
No.
Motion passes 3-2.
Okay, very good. All right, so we'll go ahead then to item 4, selection of mayor pro tem and an assignment of the city council to regional bodies, ad hoc committees, and as liaison advisory bodies.
5-minute break.
Melissa, will you have that item for us then?
Can we take a break?
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay. Well, okay, let's do a 5-minute break. You guys good with that then?
Yeah,
All right.
5 is fine.
Thank you. Okay, we'll bring our meeting back to order, and we are now at item 5, and that is the selection of Mayor Pro Tem and assignment of council members, regional bodies, ad hoc committees, and liaisons to advisory bodies. Melissa, will you have that report then?
Thank you, Mayor Hammond. Yes, with the reorganization of council earlier this evening, this item just gives you an opportunity as a council to determine your mayor pro tempore for the next 4 years and to look at the council member assignments to liaison bodies and advisory bodies in the city and make any changes that you see fit at this time.
Okay. So the first item then is to establish pro tem.
Mr. Mayor, I nominate Councilman Gregory.
Okay, recognize Councilman Strong. And we have a motion, the second motion by Councilman Bausch. Do we have any discussion on the item? Bring it up to the public. Anybody wishing to make a comment on this? Okay, we'll go ahead and then bring it back to council. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion further and beyond? Okay, Melissa, go ahead and call the question.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes
Congratulations.
unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, now we move on then to all the different, there's many. Does everybody see what we have on the attachment 1? And next question, do we have any discussion on that way it's presented at this point in time? Let's go over each one of those individually and just kind of go through.
Because it's attachment 2 is the proposed
Oh,
listing.
okay, so was that a revised one then? Let me,
It's just something I have to do.
I had clicked on the updated unit.
That's attachment 2.
Yeah, attachment 2 then, all right.
Is there any way we can put the attachment up?
Oh, that'd be great.
Yes.
Is this the right time to offer some comments, or should we just digest it for a few
Well,
minutes?
that's why I wanted to make sure. Let's review it and then let's make comment if you have any requested changes.
I'm not going to be able to do youth sports council.
Youth sports is second page. Where is that at? Yeah. Okay, well, you were the alternate on that?
So that shouldn't matter, should it? Okay.
Yeah. Beal is the primary, and then Chris Bausch is the second. Do you think you're going to have a problem then with being an alternate?
I should be okay.
I think, between the two of you, you guys work it out, to cover the meeting.
So this is the time to speak up?
Yes, if you'd like to, yeah, go ahead. I just want to get everybody up to speed on what they were seeing.
Actually, yeah, and there is a lot to digest, and I know a lot of thought went into this, and I appreciate it, Mayor Hammond, how you sort of worked through all of the different iterations and days of weeks and interest. And as you know, I ran on housing, economic development, and things for kids, you know, kind of advocating for our working families. So a lot of that makes sense. So Chamber, Main Street, Wine Country Alliance, I'd be coming full circle back with Wine Country Alliance. In terms of Chamber and Main Street, I certainly have relationships there, but it would strengthen relationships. And if I'm on Main Street, I could be on the little committee talking about parking, so you wouldn't have to. So that's the business side. In terms of the housing side, I think it'd be great to be on Housing Authority as Councilman Strong's alternate. The other thing, let's see, what was the other one? The families. Okay, so Main Street. Oh, also there's water, so I'm on, you'd sort of assign me to water. I am a little concerned about being on all 3 water committees because I think it's a better use of my time and my skills to be working on the conversations with the district, Cuesta College and the city. I think that's more in line in terms of these high-level conversations we need to have in terms of partnerships and thinking about our families. Youth sports, again, I don't think it's the best use of my time, but if Mr. Bausch, if he and I can kind of work that out, I think. But yeah, I would yes on parks, yes on the other one would be the housing constraints. But I don't think I have to officially need to be a liaison to be able to participate, right? I could go.
No, that's what my point was going to be, is that you're basically the second in case the primary can't be there, but you can certainly, both of you, be at the meeting. You can have at least two at these different meetings if you really want to participate.
I kind of rambled a little bit. I wasn't as organized in my thoughts. I have color coding and I didn't read that very well. I am very interested in the school district, Cuesta College, and city, whatever format that is, if that's a coffee or an informal kind of get together. I have relationships with
I got a phone call. It's kind of a Zoom meeting.
Yes, we haven't even had a meeting in so long. Matter of fact, I thought we were going to disband that. I'm not sure what the new superintendent is thinking.
I have a relationship with her. I have a relationship with the trustees. I've already spoken with our person at Cuesta. They're very interested in reviving that group.
I'd be willing to let her take my spot.
Okay, so Gregory, you're on the
Cuesta College Paso Robles School
and
District.
Mr. Mayor,
Beal, they're in my place.
Hang on, Fred. Let's get this one changed, or if we're going to make a change. I want to stay on one subject.
So Beal on the school district and Cuesta College as an alternate.
What's the government?
Where is that the second page?
First page towards the bottom, fourth one up from the bottom.
Okay, yep, there it is. Okay. So right now, Cuesta College, Hammond is the primary, and Gregory is the second.
Let's have Beal be the alternate, or?
So, yes, if you want to have Beal slip in as the alternate on that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Chris, is that okay with you then, to be an alternate for that?
That's fabulous. Thank you.
So let's make that change, Melissa, on
and Mr. Mayor,
Fred?
If she doesn't like water, I've never been on the water, yet I've been involved with state water since the 1960s. That's why I was wondering why I was never on water here at all.
And I'm happy to be on the Paso groundwater one. I just don't think I should be on all three. I don't think the people in District 1
I'd be happy to take her place.
Atascadero or Nacimiento.
No, I'm thinking of your alternate is on Nacimiento.
Yeah, most of those are alternates. I've been on water ever since, and that's why I kept myself at that point.
Sure, no, I'd be happy to be on that one.
I don't have a problem if somebody wants to get more engaged.
Oh, and Atascadero, I guess, also on that one?
Yeah, Atascadero, we actually have a meeting tomorrow on that one. But
is Atascadero a basic?
It's their GSA. They're going through their GSA through.
Yeah, because I've been involved also with that all the way back to back when Barney Schwartz was mayor.
Okay. All right. So let's take it up again. Right now, Nassau Water Project Commission, Hammond and Beal. Let's change that to Hammond and Strong as the alternate. And then
there was a groundwater basin there thing too.
Yeah, that was a big meeting yesterday. That's Hammond and Beal. Groundwater Sustainability Agency, I believe that's what we're talking about there.
That's as needed.
Hammond and
that's groundwater sustainability.
How often are those meetings, Christopher?
So let's do Hammond and Strong on that.
Well, sure. I thought that I could be wrong. I thought that was basically the basin committee.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm happy to be on that one, but maybe see if we could switch for Nacimiento and Atascadero basin.
Yeah, I saw you at the meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot to catch up on. But if you want to be engaged in that one too, it is kind of nice to spread out the water to different members of the board here because more education. But
isn't groundwater sustainability include Atascadero?
That's the Paso Basin Cooperative Committee, basically, is what we're talking about here.
Oh, it does, but not that.
Atascadero.
Yeah, that includes Atascadero.
Right. And I'm primary on all those three, but whoever wants to kind of slip in as an alternate and start getting some information on that.
Wait, if she wants to really switch, or if we're going to break groundwater sustainability into two,
There's a Atascadero one,
I can take Atascadero and she could take
and then there's
the other.
There's the groundwater sustainability, which is basically the overarching one that you're meeting with Blaine and the county folks, right? That's the one that I should probably be involved with.
Those members that are part of the Paso Robles Basin Cooperative Committee, it's just assumed that they'll then become the primary and alternate on the JPA.
JPA, right. So let's switch then. The Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Hammond is primary and Beal is already there on this paper.
But she didn't want to do the Atascadero part, but I'd be willing to do.
Yeah, that's a minor.
And I'm doing it mess me up.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I actually added that because it wasn't on this list.
Okay.
It's a minor committee. But. Okay. So do we have then all requested changes in at this point? Anybody see anything different or anything more? Okay. All right. So at this point, then we'll open it up to public. Did we, that's a PDF up there, isn't it, on the screen, so we can't change it?
I can't change it on the screen, but I can go over the changes I have and make sure we're all in agreement.
Okay, let's do that before we run it out to the public.
Okay, I'm showing that we are keeping the Groundwater Sustainability Agency as you proposed, with you as the primary and Councilmember Beal as the alternate.
Yes.
Nacimiento Water Project Commission with Mayor Hammond as primary, Councilmember Strong as alternate. Housing Authority, did we make a change there? Okay, sorry, I started that one. Apologies. The PRJ USD at Cuesta College and City, Hammond as primary and Beal as the alternate. And then Atascadero GSA, Mayor Hammond as the primary, Councilmember Strong as the alternate.
Okay.
That's all I have. Do you have other changes?
Yeah, I think there's about 4 that would change, so. Okay. Then anything further from council, we'll leave it out to the public. Anybody having any comment on this as proposed? Okay, we'll bring it back then to council for discussion and or action.
Move approval.
Okay, motion by Councilman Strong,
Second.
second by Councilmember Beal. Any discussion? Go ahead and call the question. Listen.
Councilmember Strong,
Aye.
Councilmember Beal,
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch,
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory,
Aye.
Mayor Hammond.
All right.
Motion passes unanimously.
And if we can get that printed up and distributed to all of us so we can keep it.
Yes, sir. And we will get it updated, and we will update all the outside agencies as well.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, moving on now. We are at City Manager's Report. Mr. Ty Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple items. I want to make sure that the public is aware that we'll have some changes to our schedule as the holidays approach. Mr. Hewad and Ms. Hallensteiner will be releasing some information to the public, but suffice it to say, we'll be closed on Christmas as well as New Year's, with business resuming the following day. Of course, during this time of year, we do have a lot of staff that are out of town on vacation, spending time with their families, but there'll be many of us that remain in the city and attending to business as usual. Also, just want to point out that we had a staff appreciation luncheon last week, which was well attended. Some of the council members made it out there, but it's another opportunity to publicly thank our staff and all of our employees that help serve the community, serve the council in various ways. And it was great to see all of them push through, grab some lunch and some meals, and be able to honor them. And so wanted to make sure that, in a public manner, that we also brought that forward. And that concludes my report.
Very good, thank you. Council business and committee reports. Let's start on my right this time. Councilman Belsch.
So, really quickly, on time, Pastoral Youth Commission, we had a great turnout for Saturday House. Attended the Niblick Road Quarter Community Open House, attended City Manager, thanks Katrina, David McFarrow, Kim Porter, Chief Savannah, for storm preparedness. Main Street Christmas Light Parade, Senior Advisory. I missed that. I was attending a typical update. Missed Parks and Rec because of our special city council meeting. Paso Robles Housing Authority got a lockdown Zoom meetings, so I apologize. So always good to love folks. Had a wonderful time. Slow County Garbage Cocktail Party. And got to see a lot of us at the White Street Showcase. It's fun. $50 and last night, San Luis County Office of Education District organization on that. I was going to go to the water meeting. I had a ticket for that, and they needed someone to make up for us. I apologize.
Okay. Pro Tem Gregory.
Before I get off, the Veterans Memorial Bridge that was brought up, hope we can bring that back at the appropriate time.
Oh, yes, for the bridge.
For the bridge.
So
I would like to agendize that.
We can work on that. Yeah,
we need to take a roll call or just a show of hands?
Just direction. I think staff. I mean, do you just want to?
Yeah, well, I had it on my list of items to discuss and come back and see if we can bring some sort of option for the council to consider.
Absolutely.
Okay. That was right at the top of my list too, so it was good. So I attended several interesting meetings this last period. So first of all, Vicki Jansen, who was the legislative assistant all the way to Ruth Brackett. She was the first legislative assistant in our county, and she's still working today, training all the others. And she trained Debbie Arnold as a legislative assistant. So anyway, I've known Vicki for many years with Cacho, and I was able to make a presentation and give her a certificate from the city of Paso Robles, and a very amazing person, really involved in our community. Also, I really enjoyed the trolley ride, the Xmas, the parade, a lot of fun. And the Vine Street, we're cruising up there on the trolley, and there was like nobody on the road. And I go, man, what is wrong with everybody? There's nobody here. And I'm not kidding. We get to the end of the trolley ride, and I get off the trolley ride, and I look back, and the streets are packed.
Yeah.
So like in 10 minutes, it went from like 0 to 100 miles an hour. But great event, a lot of really happy people. So Merry Christmas to everybody who attended that. I attended the oath of office back in the beginning first week of December for several people. The Senior Advisory Committee, I attended that. And one interesting thing came up in that is we're working on a IT program for seniors, and working on a donation for iPads and training for seniors on telephones and iPads and stuff like that. And I think it's a really good idea because, boy, I'm challenged, so I can't even imagine somebody that knows less than I do how they do it. So anyway, went to the Garberson Ball. That was really good. And my last comment would be I got to the lucky enough to attend the Wine Alliance year-end meeting, and it was one crazy good meeting. And so what's really good about it is they're looking at the problem of why they're losing their youth supporting wine. And one of the guest speakers was from some famous group, I'm not sure who she is, but she talked about how to circle back around to youth using podcasts and all kinds of different tools to get youth back into having wine as part of their recreational life. That's the best way to put it. But it was really interesting to the length of it. I have 20 slides. I'm going to share it with Ty and Chris, and you should read it. It's really good. But the good news out of that whole meeting is that we've heard a lot about the issues with wine, and we're down in sales and tasting room sales by about 6%, but we're up in purchases almost 20%. So our sales in wine in our wine tasting rooms and wineries have dropped about 3%, which is a lot better than I heard. I heard it's more like 20. So I was encouraged by that. But they're actively pursuing different ways to bring people to their wineries and to taste their wine, and going after a younger group. And their number one mechanism for media is podcasts. So I thought that was really, really interesting, and they're doing really well. They haven't started the 1 cent or 1% tax thing yet, because it was just a kind of a crazy year with the sales falling a little bit. But we'll probably see that come to fruition next year, which they contribute 1% of their proceeds to the Wine Alliance. So anyway, and we saw I'm sure we'll see it again in the springtime, all the work that Wine Alliance is doing and the number of hits they're doing. And one of the stunning areas was San Jose is now the number 2 city coming to our wineries, and it was at number 10. And it's all because of the activity that's going on up there with Travel Paso. So that, with Stacy, and that connection with the Sharks and whoever else they're up there with.
Yeah, the hockey team, isn't
The
it?
hockey team.
Yeah.
And they're really doing well. So it's a really interesting direct marketing concept that is paying off big dividends. And I think that, and Augie met Leslie, so we're all good. So that's it for me.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Councilman Strong.
Okay, well, mine is a number of different things. Housing Authority, first of all. And Housing Authority is moving ahead with a number of projects. They're about 85% full now for the one just behind Sierra Bonita. And then they've got another one down there by the old penny store. That one's only about 35% full, and they've had too many delays there, so they're not going to make it by the first of the year. Of course, they're looking at maybe March before they're going to be fully full. But they've already booked about between 25 and 35%. They are negotiating with the school district for a school district property that's right behind Quail Run, and possibly that can accommodate quite a few units. They're working with school district on that one. They're also looking at the school district for one up in way up on the north side, and that's off of Kleck Road, I think.
Okay.
And that'll accommodate about 85 units if it comes to fruition, but that one's kind of bogged down at the moment. And they've abandoned the one that would have been at the old Williams Brothers shopping center, now it's Spartan Final, because the owners there pulled out of it because they're more interested in maybe making it more commercial again, keeping it as commercial. So that's pretty much it for where they stand now. They're losing a little bit of money, but it's just behind, and they're going to make it up in other ways. But nowhere near even 10% of their assets. So they have plenty of money in the bank, no problem. Going on with SLOCOG. SLOCOG has reappointed me to all the positions I previously had, and I've been nominated for as to become the vice president of LOSAN, which is the Pacific Surfliner Railroad that goes from San Diego up to San Luis Obispo and serves us by bus from San Luis Obispo. So I'll be, this next year, I'm scheduled to be the vice president and then the president the following year of the board there. And then also I've been confirmed at the National League of Cities, continuing my position there as on the board of directors, representing NLC, the National League of Cities, on NARC, which is the National Association of Regional Councils for all the regional governments of the United States. And at National League of Cities, that's pretty much it. There's a question of if I'm still going to be on the Transportation Committee and what exact role yet. So I'm still waiting to hear on that. At the League of California Cities, I'm being reappointed to the Housing Committee and Economic Development Committee again. So I'll be handling that one. But I'm cutting it back to just one instead of two, because two with a hotel to stay overnight was just a little too much money on our budget. Okay. So I try to keep our budget cut down as much as possible, so that we don't spend more than our budget is.
Okay.
And that's sort of it right now.
Congratulations on your appointments.
I'll be back in Washington, D.C., tentatively scheduled in both February and March for this vacation.
Very good. Okay, Councilmember Beal. So this is the time that you report, which you haven't reported anything or needed anything, but
we've been busy.
Like to say something? You better go right ahead.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge how warm and welcoming everybody has been. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, fellow council people, staff. I can tell you that the onboarding process has been very, very top-notch, organized, stellar. Everybody's been so patient. So thank you for what you have done, and thank you for what you will be doing to support this transition. I don't want to duplicate some of the meetings that we've also been to, but just some of you don't. We have a couple people in the public here, but some of you don't really know me. Just so you know, I have a job. I'm not working full time, but I just want you to know that I am working, and so I'm kind of working on, figuring out how to schedule this. My father moved into my home at about 3:30 this afternoon.
Oh my.
So there's that going on, and I have a new grandbaby that was born about a week before the election in Maine, and so I have that going on. But I am really grateful to be here. We don't have a lot of people in the public still in the audience, but I take this position of public trust very seriously. I will always work hard. I will always be a fact finder and try to be fair. What you also might not know is I am an outreach and education person. I've spent my career accidentally and on purpose doing exactly that. And I think that's a really good role for me. I think that complements the skills on the council. It helps us sort of reach the community in a different way. And I think there'd be value in it. So I'm honored to be here. Thank you for your warmth and support. And I look forward to working hard for hardworking people of Paso Robles. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I know that, don't we have League of Cities for new folks pretty much after the first of the year? Isn't that, do you have that calendared already?
Oh, yeah.
I figured you did. So that's a good start. And Fred Strong's always there usually at these kind of meetings too, but a lot to absorb. There's plenty to absorb and understand, and I think you'll have a good time with it, especially with your capabilities. So thank you for being here and elected to the 1st District. I know you're going to do well, and looking forward to the work with you.
And suggestions for future agenda items?
If you like, go ahead.
Yeah. Some things have happened this year. There's been a change at the state level. I think our attorney might be looking into it. Where it comes to council salaries, we've been restricted by state law as to how much we could do. And anything we would do wouldn't take effect until it can legally take effect, which now would be probably 2 years from now.
Right.
But right now, we're excluding about 80% of the people in our and our city from even attempting to be on the council because of the salary. It is so low. And they have, I believe, what they've done is allowed us now to take a look at what we can do. And that's what the city attorney maybe should be looking into, and I'd like to report back on that as to just how much we can do.
Because we're not a charter, we're a general law, correct?
But they've changed the rules a little bit on that possibly.
Oh.
And I think giving us a little more leeway than we had before. And
I'm happy to take a look at the new legislation and bring you back information on it next year if that's the council's desire.
Sure.
If we have enough, does everybody want to hear at least what's going on?
We create more equity that way, yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I believe they also have changed the rules on how they handle rentals and rental increases. And we can actually they've changed the rules on rent control and given cities a little more leeway as to what they do. And they may or may not have taken off the state regulations on it. And I hope we can get a report back on that and see if there may be something we might want to do to control rents, which are really starting to exclude people and drive people away from our city, especially our hospitality workers and things like that are relatively low-income people, and they can't afford to live here anymore.
Yeah, that's always a problem in California, especially in Central Coast. But yeah, anything, again, any of us, as far as council, we can always talk to our city manager with things and suggestions, and of course he can reach back out with seeing if there's consensus enough to bring it back for an agenda item. So that's certainly not a problem. I'll start then with things I did. Of course, we did the candle lighting and the singing in the park, which I did perfect pantomiming. I can't believe I'm getting so good at that. That's why I bring Marjorie, though. It was a great event by Main Street and the park, essentially. I mean, I don't know about all of you. We've been hearing so much about the park and how it really is so much better, actually, Frida, than you did before. And again, very well done. We appreciate it. Of course, we did the Vine Street Showcase and the Christmas Light Parade. We also did I actually came to Norma's office to receive an award, the Main Street Award of the City with regard to the park. Frida and I accepted that on behalf of all you and the rest of the city. Also went to the Paso Basin Cooperative Committee along with Sharon yesterday and Chris, and it was a good meeting. We had a long meeting in the beginning from 1 to 4:30, and then we actually had a workshop starting at 5:30 and went on to quite late, and a lot of good places packed. I think I sent a photo to all you guys just to show you what was going on. We also did this morning, I did anyway, to the supervisors meeting, and we honored 5th District Representative Debbie Arnold on her retirement. She was the chair, of course, but she's going to be stepping down here shortly. So all of us took a few minutes at the podium to kind of congratulate her and thank her for her service and all the work she's done on the North County and in particular helping Paso Robles with different issues. The upcoming events I wanted to bring in, we have the city facilities closed, of course, in observance of Christmas holiday, Christmas December 25th. Facilities will also be closed in observance of New Year's Day, January 1st, 2025. And the Paso Robles Youth Commission Advisory Committee special meeting of January 8th will be at 5 o'clock. Paso Robles Senior Citizens Advisory Committee meeting January 13th at 1:30. Paso Robles Park and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting January 13th at 4 p.m. Paso Robles Planning Commission meeting will be here in this room January 14th at 6:30. The Paso Robles City Council, we will be dark the first week in January, but our second meeting, January 15th, will be our next one here at 6 o'clock. Remember, 6 o'clock, we're changing it now from 6:30 to 6. And that is the layout. I also want to take a minute here, too, just to thank all the staff. I mean, this is the time of the year, we all kind of get together with family, and I certainly think that everybody who works for the city and all the different jobs and all the different capacities, where I believe we're all family, and want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Coming 2025, the amount of work that gets put out every year is kind of unnoticed by many, but I think council understands what you're doing, and we definitely want to take a minute to recognize all of you and wish you a happy holiday. Also, again, Chris Beal, thank you for coming on board, and you're going to be a good asset, I'm sure. The other thing I wanted to do too is recognize, and if I would, adjourn in their honor. We had past employees too, actually. Bob Adams was our fire chief, and actually he started pretty much out of school with the wastewater department, and then he went to the police department, then went to the fire department, back to the police department. Bob Adams was our chief when we were all volunteers, Jonathan and I, a bunch of others. He was a great man. He passed away about a week and a half ago. And then we also had another good friend who was on our fire department for many years, Dan Lemons, who passed. So it's getting to the point where a lot of friends are starting to pass on. I'm sure we will meet up with them again at the big one on the air. But again, if you council would allow me to adjourn in their names, I'd like to make that honor.
And I'll second that.
All right. Motion by Hammond, second by Strong. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned.
Thank you, John.